Okay, Jeff, let's move to our next topic and discuss the expectations of our two first round picks, Jalen Walker and James Pearce Jr. So, with Jalen Walker, his odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year is plus 700, meaning you put $100 down, you get 700 back. That ranks number two. Obviously, Abdul Carter is going to be the favorite there. James Pearce Jr. is at plus 1600, which for our audience that isn't privy to gambling is you put $100 down and you will be rewarded with $1,600 if JPJ gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, here's a quote from Jeff Ulbrich regarding James Pearce Jr. He's going to create some serious problems for offenses. You can put him on the edge and let it rip. Jeff, what are your expectations for both Jalen Walker and James Pearce Jr.?
So I want to say this off the bat. Whatever expectations you have for those two guys, lower them, right? And the reason I say that is not because they're Falcons, not because I think things are going to go wrong, but objectively, if you look over the history of the NFL, most defensive ends as rookies aren't very good. There is for whatever reason when it comes to that position. I know we can talk about last year and Rookie of the Year and all of those things, but even if you go back and you look at what's his name for the Rams, who was the Rookie of the Year as a defensive end, he still
Jared Verse.
Yeah, Jared Verse, right, out of Florida State. Verse still wasn't all of that. Like, he wasn't elite, right? He didn't jump off the page. He didn't lead the NFL in sacks. He didn't lead the NFL in tackles for loss. Like, you go back and you watch him on film, he doesn't necessarily pop off the page all the time. And when you go back and look, he and Trisk, right, the two rookies that they had there in LA, is it Trisk, Frisk, whatever.
Fisk, Braden Fisk.
There you go. Yeah, like the other rookie for the Rams, they weren't. He was probably more impressive than Verse was. And I believe that Fisk was the only rookie in the top 25 pass rushers in sacks. So, I'm going to preface this by saying I expect them to have really good rookie years. Will they win? Will either of them win Rookie of the Year? I don't know. Does it matter to me? Absolutely fucking not. That to me, that them winning awards, which are media voted, by the way, isn't going to dictate to me how good of a year I think they have. We all know, we've covered this extensively, how much the media seems to discredit anything the Falcons are doing, and that wouldn't be any different. So I think that they will both be they will have impactful moments, but they're also going to have that deer in headlight moments, right? Like, they're going to look like deer in headlights at times, and they should. They're rookies. I've talked about it before. When you look at when you look across the NFL and you look at you look at defensive ends, obviously you have some really, really good ones. But when you look in the overall NFL history, only one of them is special, right? And that's Malachi. Like, he's the one guy that has done really special things in the NFL early in his career. And obviously, I'm talking about what's his name in Dallas,
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, right? And so Micah, other than what the only person that has done what Micah has done in his first 4 years in the NFL is Reggie White. Like, that's how elite Micah Parsons has been. Is Reggie White is the only guy to have more sacks than he has in his first 4 years, and I think people are going to come out and have really lofty expectations. There's a reason that those are the only two guys to kind of have that success early. JJ Watt didn't have that success early. TJ Watt didn't have that success early. You can go across with Jadeveon Clowney's never really had that type of success, and he's been decent.
Yeah.
I would really love to tell Falcons fans, be excited about these guys, but don't give up on them when they don't record 10 sacks their rookie years, because it's rarely done. There aren't a lot of rookies that have ever done that. So I expect them to be successful. I expect them to have impacts, but I also we're also at some point during the season going to talk about, damn, he disappeared for the last 8 quarters. Like, he's got to pick it up a little bit. Like, these guys are going to hit that rookie wall. They all do it, right? So I would caution everybody: be excited, order the jerseys, be in there, rep them. Uh, but let's bring back the expectations a little bit. I'll let Abdul Carter deal with the bullshit of being rookie of the year. I'll let Travis Hunter deal with that bullshit. I want our guys focused on how to become better football players every single week. And to take a quote from Dan Quinn, I want them to get 1% better every week.
I really like that quote. And here's the thing of why I don't like Abdul Carter, and this is just getting into more betting focus, right? Like the New York D line has so many pieces, man. You have Thibodeau, you have Carter, you have Burns. Like that is just too many cooks in the kitchen. Whereas with us, we're really yearning for a pass rusher. Like I think JPJ is set up nicely, and he has nice odds to go for it. And look, I should temper my expectations. To your point, rookies generally don't go over 10 sacks. Micah did it in his rookie season. He had 13. The most ever, actually, in a rookie season was Javon Curse, but then he kind of tailed off when you look at him over 4 years, he doesn't really quite measure up to the Reverend or Micah Parsons. And when you start talking about Reggie White and LT, those are two of the best defensive players in NFL history we're talking about. Like we can't go that far, right? Like when you draft a QB, you don't say they're Brady. So we can't say that JPJ is going to be the Reverend. But if he gets 8 sacks, I will be through the roof. I will be so excited. And one last thing before we move off this topic, Jeff. One cool thing about Jared Verse and Braden Fisk that was interesting is they were both brought in together. And not only were they brought in together, they actually played for the same college. They're both Florida State. They both attended FSU. I think there's something real in like getting two defensive rookies together. Walker and Pearce. Although they're not going to, Walker's probably going to play standing up. He's going to play more linebacker. I don't think he's going to be more hands down like Pearce. But having them together, growing together, competing with each other, like I think that's going to go a long way for this defense.
And I also really do like the fact that they've got a Leonard Floyd type guy. And again, another, not that I'm a big SEC football guy because I'm not, but it's another SEC football guy who has had success in the NFL. He's played in some really big games, including Super Bowls. So I like the fact that they're going to be able to come in. They're expected to compete right away, but they're going to be able to kind of look at some really good veteran leadership in that room as well. And so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and people forget when Vic Beasley had his NFL leading 15 and a half sacks or whatever. Who was in the room with him, Jeff? Do you remember? Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and that was, I still say they should have done whatever it took to bring, to bring Dwight back that next year as well, because I think that would have made a really big difference in Beasley's career.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Ramsey, right? Like bringing someone like that in. Bates is mature, fine, whatever. Like he doesn't need to hear shit from Ramsey. But I'm telling you, Ramsey can coach up Bowman, who we're going to talk about later. He can coach up Watts, and I want him to kind of mess with AJ Terrell. Like I need them to like kind of have that back and forth in competition or whatever. Like that's what you need. You need veterans. Like Floyd being there means the world to JPJ and even to Walker as well. Having that Georgia connection with Floyd is going to go a long way. And this is why, like, when we start talking about this topic, I start daydreaming about bringing over Ramsey. But really, then I just circle back to why the hell isn't Grady Jarrett in this room, man? I don't know how we let the guy go. He also has Super Bowl experience too. He's been there. He knows what it takes. Longtime captain of our defense. It's just, yeah, it's going to take a while for me to get over that one.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people. Some of us probably won't. Right, like that's a guy who should have been a Falcon for his entire career, and the fact that he's not is absolute garbage. And also, I'll stand on that.
Do you remember him when he was playing at Clemson? Did he like pop out to you? or did he blossom more in the pros?
So I was on air the night that he was drafted, and the Falcons traded up into the trade up. I think what was it, 10 picks in the fifth round to go get him. And I told everybody that night that if he had been 6'5" instead of 5'11", he would have gone in the first 5 picks. Like he was that disruptive, right? And he's had that kind of career, right? Like if and I know he's listed, I think it's 6'1" or 6'2". He's not. Anybody who's ever met Grady Jarrett knows that dude pushing 5'11", right? Like he's not as big as you think he is. And I remember the first time. So they do something at Clemson called the Tiger Walk, and they basically walk. It's about 300 yards, 200 yards from the back of basically the practice facility to the stadium, and it's not quite that far, but it is about 200 yards through one of the parking lots. And when my kids were younger, we would go stand there so they could high five all the guys and everything. And he walked by, and I literally looked at my best friend, and I was like, "That's Grady." Like I was shocked because I'm 6'3", a little over 6'3", and I was like, holy shit, this kid's tiny. Like he's really, really short. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. He is what he is. But you can't measure that dude's heart. And he played that way for 10 years. I really think that, as fans, we're going to miss him. I think that defense is going to miss him because, again, I've said this several times on this podcast and on Twitter. I fully expect him to have a big time bounce back year, and he will be up for, what is it, bounce back player of the year, whatever the hell that
Comeback player of the year.
comeback player of the year. I absolutely expect that from Grady this year.
Yeah, he set a Super Bowl record, Jeff, or tied a Super Bowl record, 3 sacks. That's why, like,
He
crazy,
would have been the
crazy.
MVP of that game if the Falcons had held on. I know it normally goes to quarterbacks, but the way that he was chasing Tom Brady around, I think he was on track to win that MVP award that year.
Well, if stupid Alford just hung on to that last weird interception that got tossed up in the air and Edelman made that catch, then he would have definitely pick six and game sealing interception. I think Alford would have probably taken it right there.